Okay, this is a full episode of Rescue 911. It's called Lake Boy and Elvis Docu 2. And the reason why I have all the pizza slices is because when they showed after he was rescued, they showed him and all his friends and parents at a pizza place, and they were playing games and eating pizza and drinking soda. So this is like boys fall through ice and shooting victims. It's 30 minutes, but that's like with commercials.
This program contains true stories of rescues. All of the 911 calls you will hear are real. Whenever possible, the actual people involved have helped us reconstruct the events as they happened. We begin early on a chilly winter morning in the quiet suburban neighborhood of Englewood, Colorado. Some of the footage in the story was taped as events unfolded on December 20th, 1990.
Me and Mikey and Milton were walking to school.
Who are you gonna play in your basketball game?
Silver. And then I said, let's go on the ice. It'll be quicker. We threw a rock on it, the rock broke. So we figured, oh, it's all right, we can walk on it.
It was just before Christmas vacation. 10-year-old Mike Graves and his friends Milton and Adam lived near the small man-made lake and walked by it every day.
There were still some waterfalls running out there, and even though most of the lake was fairly well frozen, the portion of the lake that they were headed for was fairly thin.
Bruce Hines lived in a house by the lakefront.
Hey guys, be real careful walking up the
I
ice.
said, there's a possibility that you could fall in. And they just kind of looked at me like kids do, like, who is this guy? And I just figured, well, that went right on by them.
We went under the bridge, and then we got onto the shore, because it's really not the best place to walk.
Yeah, it's enough for me. I'm gonna go to the gym for specials. Yeah. Hey, where's Mike going? Hey, Mike, come here. Come on. Come back, Mike.
Don't do
Come
it.
back here, Mike.
Either he didn't hear us or he didn't listen. It was just really weird, because there was a big hole the day before. But he just kept going.
Come back here. Help! Help!
I'm just screaming for help and thinking he could die. And then Milton tried to go get him.
Help!
It just really freaked me out. Because I had never seen anything that scary before.
When we continue,
On the way.
I will remember those screams as long as I live, because I knew we didn't have a lot of time.
When I'm gone, it'll be dummy and cook.
Fine.
Have a seat.
Thank you.
So, Lisa, let's go back. So, looking back at...
Thank you. That's what I was going to become.
Yeah.
And, a couple.
Perfectly balanced to put your body in fat burning mode. Call or go online in the next
Bonus offers.
You gotta come down and tell me what's going on. Hold on, I'm gonna patch through the front room. We'll get people going.
Hang on, help's on the way.
The ice was so thin that you couldn't even lay on the ice to try to get on your belly and crawl out to him. And the thing that was going through my mind was, how long can we wait before we put another person in the water to try to get him out? Do the seconds make the difference? Is it a minute that's going to make a difference? And that was the scary part.
Anthony, crank up the heater for the spot.
Paramedic firefighter Brian O'Malley was among those who responded.
We were talking in the firehouse, and I was saying it'd be good to go over that ice rescue training we'd had just recently, to actually do it out on a lake with the ice. And that's about when the tone went off for a child that had fallen through the ice.
I will remember those screams as long as I live, because I knew we didn't have a lot of time. I just said, God, we've got to send them angels. We've got to help this child.
Neighbor John Kidney had been taking a shower when his wife told him a boy was trapped in the icy water.
Barbara had my boots there, and she said, here's your boots. And I just couldn't even think about the boots, because I was thinking, first of all, I don't have time, and secondly, I'm probably going to have to jump in there.
We'll get you. Hold on.
I was just scared. He's my best friend, and it looked like he wasn't gonna make it.
Hang on. Keep it up. Come on.
Where's your husband? Is he still out there? He's out there. They've almost got close to the child. He's screaming hysterically. But it's like a couple of feet too far from any ground.
Hang on, Mike. Hang on. You got it, Mike. Hold on. Hang on to it, Mike. Hold it. Hang on. Hang on to it, okay? Come on, hang on to it. We got you, Mike. Hang on to it. Hang on to it, Mike. Hold it. Hang on. Hang on to it, okay?
He just didn't have the strength to hang on to the pole. He just kept saying how cold he was and help me. And his pleas for help didn't really make it any easier.
Anytime your core temperature drops below 90 degrees Fahrenheit, there's a great chance the heart can fibrillate. And when it fibrillates, it just goes into a chaotic spasm, unable to pump blood or sustain life.
The only fire station in the district that had a cold water rescue suit was also dispatched, but they were farther away. To save time, firefighter Mike Butterfield put on the specially insulated suit on the way to the scene.
I grabbed my extension cord, 50-foot length, and my thought was to keep the extension cord out there. It's a lifeline to him. It's a security blanket, if you will.
The first rescue workers got to the scene less than 4 minutes after the call.
He had all his winter clothes on when he went into the water, and clothes have a way of trapping air pockets and keeping you somewhat buoyant. But all the while, the water's filling up those air pockets and going to become an anchor pretty soon.
He has a lot of people on the shore who was rooting him on. He saw a lot of positive, yes, you can do it, we believe you can do it, and possibly gave him that extra strength or moments to hang on.
We thought we might be able to get the ladder extended out to the victim and have him grab onto it, because he was still conscious and he was still above the water, which meant we had a chance.
15 feet deep. Okay, you get the rope? Right, here's the rope. You gotta drive, sir. Come on back. Come on back. Come back.
His face was just a face of terror. Once I grabbed him, he just totally relaxed. It's like he almost went unconscious.
15 minutes after he fell in, 10-year-old Mikey Graves was pulled from the icy lake.
As he was shaking, he said his jaws really hurt because he clenched down so bad. And he was saying, "I'm sorry, I'm sorry." When we got him in the rescue vehicle, we started to dry him off and get blankets on him, and I took most of my clothes off and held him to conserve his temperature. And it was just like holding a block of ice.
Mikey's temperature had dropped more than 12 degrees below normal. He was taken to the hospital where he was treated and released the next day.
I feel like I'm a lucky kid because they kept on encouraging me and they did a lot for me. I know one thing, I'm not going to walk on that ice unless there's supervision or something like that.
Mikey's mother, Helen, also can't forget.
First thing he said to me is, you know, "I love you, Mom." When I look at him, he's got the sparkle in his eye, and he's they're all fun, you know. I'm just glad that he's here. I can just, you know, thank God for everybody that was there. You know, if it would have been an hour later, I don't think anybody would have been around.
It's a really nice community to live in because these people don't look the other way. They all got involved. If that child had lost his life that day, I don't think I could have stayed here and been able to look out again on that lake knowing that it claimed the life of a little 10-year-old boy.
He is still the same old Mikey. To all the people that helped him, I really think they're the best. Because if they wouldn't have helped him, there wouldn't be a best friend anymore for me.
Next.
I wasn't really sure what we were fixing to get into. The police being on the scene doesn't make it totally safe. You always have to look at...
Till indenture work. Up to $2,000 you can spend on hero...
Victims of violent crimes. Memphis, Tennessee, August 18th, 10:50 p.m.
I would like to call you the Country Street Apartments that I just got started outside. Okay, did you see him shot the person? He's laying out there, okay, does he need a name? Yeah, he was shot. Ma'am, hold on, let me get into the fire department, okay? Okay. Fire department? Could I have a police to the MS, the AX? What's wrong? Somebody just got shot, and they still shooting the man out there. They're still shooting? Yeah, they're in the driveway. Chicken 11, response to an emergency call on a shooting. Police are in route. You know it's your sign. You have information that there is shots just on hearing.
I wasn't really sure what we were fixing to get into. We waited down the street on the police to get there to make sure the scene was safe before we went in.
Unit 9, police advised they're in the area looking for the victim.
The extra minutes that are spent waiting for help to arrive could mean the difference between life and death.
Paramedic Chris Newsom and his partner followed the police to the scene.
Chicken 11, 2256.
The police being on the scene doesn't make it totally safe. You always have to look out for yourself.
Right up on it.
Y'all stand right back here.
It looked really bad when we got on the scene.
According to witnesses, he was standing beside his car, and there were two suspects. Either they were going to steal the vehicle, or they were going to actually rob it.
I'll go ahead and set you up for you, man. Oh, it's hurting.
The person who shot him was 2 feet away, so we definitely thought that there might be some internal interest.
Keep it straight. I'm hurt. I know. Keep your arms still for a second. Try to make your blood pressure. Okay, hang on, boy. We're fixing to put you on the stretcher. We're going to take you to the hospital, okay?
Paramedic Supervisor Robert Young was also at the scene.
In a crowd, everyone is loud, they're excited,
We don't know if these are family members. We don't know if these are the individuals who shot the individual in the first place.
Within 20 minutes of the shooting, 30-year-old Cecil
The
Boyce
reason why
arrives
this
at the
is
Elvis
called
Presley Memorial
Elvis
Park.
Doc is because the name of the hospital is called Elvis
The
Presley.
fact that shotgun wounds have a lot of pellets that spread out everywhere makes our job of working any of these patients up that much harder, because even though they're small, one pellet hitting the right organ can kill a person.
Your belly hurting at all? John, it's fresh.
I had many concerns about possible severe injury. A close-range shotgun blast, you know, is going to damage.
I am an
inside.
Elvis Presley
It just
fan.
does.
I love
Cecil's
his
mother, Barbara
music.
Boyle,
It's
followed the
oldies
ambulance to the
music.
hospital.
He's okay. He's okay. He's okay. Now tell her you're all right.
Oh, it was crazy. When I saw him, I was just devastated.
Oh, I'm hurt.
I didn't know if he was gonna live. That was my most difficult problem. I was just worried if my son was gonna live. And if he did, would he be okay?
We're under the gun from the moment we do an exam. You don't want to send a patient to surgery that doesn't need to go to surgery.
He's got a hole in his stomach duct, a hole to do that, and it'll kill him in a hurry.
A missed injury may not show itself until 24 or 48 hours later, and at that time, it's too late, and we've missed the boat, and the patient is in a heap of trouble.
Radiologist Gerald Grubbs carefully examines the results of Cecil's CAT scan.
He actually had much more damage to his internal organs than we suspected.
He has multiple pellets within the posterior aspect of the right lobe of his liver. He also had several pellets go through the upper pole of this kidney. He also has several of these pellets that did in fact actually get within his spinal canal and are around his cord. And if those were to get infected, that could be really bad for him as well.
Cecil's girlfriend, Ines Hicks, is allowed in to see.
It relieved me some that he was alive, but just that thought, being shot in the back, wondering would he be able to walk. It was just awful, the waiting and not knowing.
It's okay.
Tomorrow morning, we'll let him go to the floor, we'll feed him a diet, and he ought to get out of the hospital without any kind of surgery, okay? So he was pretty lucky in that he could have had a serious injury, but he got away with something that we feel comfortable watching, okay? So we will just keep him down here for a day, and hopefully he'll go up to the floor and be eating and be at home before long, okay? All right.
Later that day, Ines and a friend visit Cecil in intensive care.
I feel lucky. I'm grateful. It's going to take time to go over this.
They left the pellets in. They said that they would do more damage by going in and getting the pellets out. So I have them in my body the rest of my life. It's just something I gotta do.
The body will form scar tissue around those pellets and protect itself, but they will never be resorbed or go away. Hopefully they will not set up infection.
With careful treatment, Cecil's physical wounds healed without any complications. But the painful memories of that night are still vivid.
I was leaving a friend's house and I was approaching the car and a guy came out of the bushes with a ski mask on his face and said, "Give me your keys." I had my keys stuck in my sock and I bent down to give him the keys and shot me in the back.
Good. I thought maybe that he would be handicapped for the rest of his life, but
He's at a barbecue now with ribs.
I do think sometimes that what would have happened if I lost him? My life would be empty without him.
say cheese, okay? Look, here for Carol. Carol!
It was rough at first because I was in the bed lying down, unable to do anything. Now,
he must
just to
have
be
a
able
son.
to get up and do the things I
He's
used to
holding
do.
a little boy.
Gotcha.
Well, they did say he had a
All the
girlfriend,
nurses and everything. I think it was very nice and did just what they could do.
but they showed his mom in
they
the
say.
documentary too.
This program contains true stories of rescues. All of the 911 calls you will hear are real. Unless indicated, the actual people involved have helped us reconstruct the events as they happened.
It takes a certain kind of person to perform a truly heroic act. Someone who couldn't live with himself if he saw anyone in trouble and did nothing about it. I'm William Shatner. Tonight, true stories of unwavering courage and unfailing heroism on Rescue 911. We begin on a quarter-mile racetrack outside Denver, Colorado. Most of the footage was taped on July 22nd, 1989, in front of tens of thousands of spectators.
The Denver race in 1989 was really kind of a celebration because the track was thought to not exist in, due to
Okay, now I'm streaming Rescue 911, Funny Car, and Supermarket Hero. Race car driver knocked unconscious by 150 miles per hour impact. A supermarket attendant who attempted to stop an out of control car. Actually, the little girl drove into him, I think. Because I've seen Supermarket Hero before. Other people have put it on.
This program contains true stories of rescues. All of
For
the
some
911
reason, it's not playing. It's just showing. Okay. It was just showing William Shatner. There, now it's playing.
This program contains true stories of rescues. All of the 911 calls you will hear are real. Unless indicated, the actual people involved have helped us reconstruct the events as they happened.
takes a certain kind of person to perform a truly heroic act. Someone who couldn't live with himself if he saw anyone in trouble and did nothing about it. I'm William Shatner. Tonight, true stories of unwavering courage and unfailing heroism on Rescue 911. We begin on a quarter-mile racetrack outside Denver, Colorado. Most of the footage was taped on July 22nd, 1989, in front of tens of thousands of spectators.
The Denver race in 1989 was really kind of a celebration because the track was thought to not exist anymore due to highway construction and some other things, but the people involved managed to resurrect it, really, and bring it back from the ashes and make a fantastic facility, which nobody really expected. So there was a really kind of a celebration going on. Gosh, it is a great place to race. Great fans and beautiful weather.
On this Saturday, funny cars were racing. High-powered vehicles capable of reaching nearly 300 miles an hour in less than 6 seconds.
If you're in that starting line area, you're talking 8,000 collective horsepower with nitro methane fuel. The ground, or the grandstand, literally vibrating.
The races take only seconds, watched over at both ends of the track by the Safety Safari, a professional team of firefighting and medical rescue workers.
With that many horsepower and that much power just waiting to be unleashed, sometimes it's just like a hand grenade waiting to go off. You sit there and hope. Nobody pulls the pin.
The Safety Safari keeps the track meticulously clean. Grease and oil interfere with the traction, essential for safety. And each day they methodically check their rescue equipment.
All of the funny cars, like the other categories, racing qualifying sessions. When qualifying is over, the 16 corporate cars go into final eliminations on Sunday.
It was 20-year-old Don Gay Jr.'s second Top Fuel funny car race. In this heat, he would face a legend.
When anybody lines up against a champion like a Don Prudhomme, the gunfighter with a big reputation, you want to knock him off, and especially a young driver like Don Gay Jr., just for his own personal satisfaction, even though it's qualifying, even though it really doesn't mean anything, only your time matters.
We were having a lot of trouble with our car, and he's a young kid and a real aggressive kid, and I didn't want this young kid to beat me.
Donnie was trying to follow his racing champion father, but this day had been somewhat disappointing, and this was his last chance to qualify for a better starting position in tomorrow's race.
We went towards him and the car was still idle. And we figured something's really wrong because he wasn't shutting the engine down, he wasn't trying to stop, he wasn't trying to come out the escape hatch on the top. We all had to turn around and chase him back.
I thought I was watching a man burn to death.
When we continued, the first thing that came to my mind is that, yeah, I've got my fire equipment still, I have my helmet on, gloves on, and we got to get this kid on fire.
Full Complete plan can add even more benefits and features compared to original Medicare. You'll have lots of
Limited talk and text is just $25 a month.
Definitely, it's a great value.
Now I just have every...
and took care of me right away.
I do have a sense that they have my
Fire equipment still on. I have my helmet on, gloves on, and we got to get this kid out of the fire. He had a seatbelt on. It was a double locking belt. I reached in and turned the belt and hit it as hard as I could, and it finally popped loose.
Several of the guys burnt their hands and everything. We got a few burns and nothing but get a driver out.
I climbed up on the rear wheels of the car and straddled the roll cage. Took us just a minute or two because everything was hot.
Get on the ground, it's on the ground. Get his helmet on, put the helmet up. Get the helmet on.
He already had stopped breathing when we arrived and got him out of the car.
Go out, please, go out. Got it. Need some air. Give me some oxygen back. Give me AT, Jim. He's got a mouthpiece here. He's got a mouthpiece here. Need some air.
I pretty much figured that he was in respiratory rest or even full rest. Even his eyes had already dilated, so I knew time was against us. We had to work fast.
Don, you hear me? Don, that's a boy. That's four there.
You got 1 to 4 minutes that is a good little time to try to bring someone back. 4 to 6 minutes, you're really playing with danger. Your brain cells are not acquiring the oxygen or are dying. After we hit him the third time with the third embo bag full of air, his body, I felt his body flinch.
Let's clear the scene. Give me one if you don't. Okay. Just be cool. Don't give you some oxygen. You hear me? Okay. Just gonna give you some oxygen. Donnie, I recognize you.
I yelled at him and said, Donnie, do you know who I am? And he looked at me and said, you're Don Perdone. You know, a smile came on all of our faces.
Donnie. All right, be good. No.
I was calming down, but he was trying to breathe too fast and then got excited, and I sure didn't want him to go back out after getting back in because we may have more trouble going into shock or something else.
From a suite in the racetrack tower, Donnie's grandparents had seen his car go up in flames. Marie Gay had no other information about his condition.
All right, guys, let's back up.
What was incredible to me was his grandmother, Marie. She was the most collected of all of them. And she's down on her hands and knees, saying, breathe, Donnie. Breathe, Donnie. Just in a very controlled voice. She didn't add to any panic that there might have been. Just what a strong lady.
Donnie's fire suit had protected him from the flames, but the red-hot metal inside the car had severely burned his arms, and the intense heat had caused the sweat to boil on his back.
He had inhaled a fair amount of flame, and of course that inhalation burn that people get is a very critical issue, and you don't know for 24 to 36 hours how serious that particular injury is going to be.
Don Gay Jr. was rushed to a trauma center, where he was treated for flame inhalation and burns. He was released from the hospital after 11 days. The safety safari had saved his life.
What I should have done is let off and went for another day, another race. But I was racing Don Perdone. I was ahead of one of my idols. Well, that's where I messed up and lost control and hit the wall, and I was knocked out. And from then on, I don't remember anything until they revived me.
Every safety safari guy is very proud of what he does, and it makes us feel good when we do something and it turns out good. I mean, it's a lot of pride in the whole operation.
In this particular accident, if it had been at a track, let's say, where we didn't have a safety safari like we have in NHRA racing,
I don't believe that he would have made it. I think he would just burn up in the car and he'd been gone.
What's in it? Burn up. The same one? They can't that well,
After he had the wreck in Denver, it was no more racing. His first words, Daddy, no more racing, no more racing. I said, that's right, son, no more racing. It's over, everything's for sale, it's gone. And when he told me that, it was over with. Then we came back and he started changing his mind in the hospital. And when he did, I said, we'll see, we'll see. No, order my fire suit. No, I said, we'll see. And so right now, we're gonna keep him apart for a while.
I want to race very, very bad. But I think God wants me to take a little time off. I really feel that. I feel that I came too close and I should be here. I'm grateful to Perdome and all the guys in safety safari. There's no way I could ever thank them enough. It's life. How do you thank somebody for saving your life? How can you just, there's no possible way to ever do it completely. I want them to know that I can never thank them and I always, in debt to them.
Next.
Turn around. A little girl lying around in the front seat with the car in back of us.
When his brother returns from years of captivity, they head back to the frontier to free their sister.
We will ride from hell and back, that is.
And Medicare benefits review are absolutely free. Did you know you may be...
In the small town of Stafford, Virginia, the biggest supermarket is the Giant Food Store. Early on the morning of April 19, 1989, employee Milton Braxton was already hard at work.
Milton is the best at what he does. The Goodwill Ambassador, that is a quote from one of the Giant training manuals. You're the first person a customer sees, and you're the last person they see.
Goodbye now.
Instead of attending a breakfast honoring him as the employee of the month, Milton had chosen to come to work as usual. Teresa Vowell was just finishing her weekly grocery shopping with her friend Linda Fisher.
She had a lot of stuff to do. Well, I only got a few things to pick up. Teresa went her way, went mine. I did what I had to do, checked out.
4 months pregnant with her third child, Teresa put her daughter in the car with her friend Linda. She then drove them around to the loading zone to pick up her 8 bags of groceries from Milton.
How are you?
Oh,
good. Now let me move.
As they loaded the groceries into the trunk, another car pulled up behind them, the man and a little girl.
I turned around, saw a little girl lying around in the front seat with the car in back of us.
His legs were caught in between those bumpers. I knew his legs were broke. He was so stunned he couldn't even talk. You could see in his eyes the pain. And I was so hysterical. I mean, my stomach was tensed up, my back was hurting.
Call was always to 911. Call came in at 10:05 a.m. The rescue squad was immediately dispatched.
When I ran outside, all I saw was Milton laying on the ground.
Grocery manager Tim Conklin came out as soon as he saw what had happened.
At that time, somebody screamed, "Get a blanket, he's gonna go in the shop."
I called my mother, told her what had happened. I had real bad cramps in the front, lower part of my stomach and in my back. It felt just like that I was going to have a miscarriage with that baby.
Outside, Teresa tried to comfort Milton.
Milton said, "I can't really feel my legs, Teresa." And I said, "Well, you're going to be just fine."
EMTs Bobby Talley, Lena Brownham, and John Peterson arrived within a few minutes of the call.
He was laying on the ground on his side. The bones were broken into and they were separated. Milton, what about your pants leg, all right? Sure, get over.
He had to cut his pants up to around his pocket area to put sweats on. So we had a long fracture pack, what we call a frac pack splint. We had 2 of those, put those together. He was in a lot of pain, but he didn't act like it.
When you have a fracture and you straighten it, it's pinching off the muscles and it hurts bad. If they're hurting real bad, I just give them my hand and I tell them to squeeze it.
Okay, I'm ready. 1, 2, 3.
Before they loaded him in the ambulance, I kissed him on his cheek because I was so grateful that he had pushed me out of the way.
Milton asked Tim to go with him to the hospital.
Milton just, ooh, his legs hurt. Oh, my legs hurt. I told him to scream, let it out. He's not that type of person. Soft-spoken, easygoing guy. Didn't want anybody to know he was in any kind of pain.
And baby's positioned to this side.
Subsequent sonograms taken by Teresa's obstetricians seemed to show nothing wrong with the fetus, but had she been hit by the car, it would almost certainly have caused a miscarriage. Milton Braxton's legs were both broken when he was struck by the car. He spent 2 weeks recuperating in the hospital.
We stuck a little red basket on top of the safe and put a little sign on it that said Milton's mailbox. You know how many people drop 10 and 15 cars in there a day?
Oh, yes, indeed. There was enough to do to cover the whole wall, and then some.
8 months after the accident, Milton is still undergoing physical therapy, hoping he'll soon be strong enough to return to work.
Well, it's typical of him to do something like this, to out of his way to have somebody else. It wasn't surprising to me when I heard what he had done.
I don't mind helping anybody, and I figure we don't need both of us to get hurt, so I just shoved her out the way, and I'll take a chance on getting out the way, after I get her out the way myself, but I couldn't do it, and I just got hit.
I feel like he's like my guardian angel because without him there, this baby, it means so much to me to carry Holly. And, when she's born, I want him to hold her and feel the joy that he has given me and my husband both.
On October 31st, 1989, Holly Ann Vowell was born, a healthy baby girl.
Let me see. You gaining some pounds. Yeah, you can make that small. Yeah, you can make that small.
Teresa's husband, Michael, also feels strongly about Milton.
You have to be
Aww, Holly's so
If it
precious.
wasn't for his courage,
Well, if Holly was born on October 31st, 1989, she's a grown woman today. By God, children of her own.
That's the only way to
89,
describe him.
99,
He doesn't think about
2009,
himself, he thinks about others
2019.
first.
Holly's probably like 31 years old now.
Really do and truly
Probably.
care about other people.
Or at least
it just
30.
shows me that, yeah, there are some good
She's
people
probably
out
got
in this world,
children
and
of
Milton
her
Braxton's
own.
one of them.
This program contains true stories of rescues. All of the 911 calls you will hear are real. Whenever possible, the actual people involved have helped us reconstruct the events as they happened. We begin in a peaceful suburban neighborhood outside Atlanta, Georgia, just after Christmas of 1989.
When I started crying and screaming, I didn't know what to do.
The pressure of saving a child, for some reason, that is a big pressure.
That was going over and over again in my mind.
Oh, this is, I think, sibling stabbing. I'm gonna like delete Funny Car and Supermarket Hero because I got it on YouTube already. Oh yeah, it's probably like 911 sibling stabbing and runaway garbage truck. A little boy accidentally stabbed by his sister. A tow truck pulling a
This program contains true stories of rescues. All of the 911 calls you will hear are real. Whenever possible, the actual people involved have helped us reconstruct the events as they happened.
You're watching Rescue 911 Get TV.
We begin in a peaceful suburban neighborhood outside Atlanta, Georgia, just after Christmas of 1989.
When I started crying and screaming, I didn't know what to do.
The pressure of saving a child, for some reason, that is a big pressure.
That was going over and over again in my mind that he was going to die.
On this Wednesday afternoon, Linda Bledsoe had a quick errand to run. She left her 10-year-old daughter, Michelle, in charge of her 3 younger kids.
I told Michelle just to put in a tape in the VCR for the 2 little ones so that they wouldn't be under her feet in her room. She had chores to do.
Kimberly and Rufus, give me a kiss.
She's very good with the kids. I don't hesitate to leave her. She's babysat for me quite often. The little ones listen to her sometimes better than they do me.
Michelle, behave.
To help keep her little brother and sister entertained, Michelle decided to open one of her Christmas presents, a new videotape.
It had plastic and some cardboard at the bottom of it. I couldn't get it open, so I told Kimberly to go into the kitchen to get a butter knife. In the meantime, I had already cut it open with my nail. Let's go throw this in the garbage. It ended up being a very sharp knife, and I just told her to go put it back.
From upstairs, 7-year-old Jessica heard her brother's screams.
He was stabbed right below the chest, and it was a deep cut. I didn't know what to do because I was so scared. But then I calmed myself down, and I called my father.
picked up the phone, and it was Michelle, and she said that Rufus had been stabbed. I said, you know, call 911.
When we continue,
This is big here.
Folks, it's time to get up, dress up, and
The good credit is they'll understand the value of it because I didn't.
Stores were always in stock. You'll get what you need.
It's not just my bit. Complex in Animal House. No, it's not. It's a house? You say you got stabbed? You say you got... Ma'am, listen, I need you to talk to me and not talk to that person. Listen, you say you got stabbed? Yes, it is a very sharp knife, and I need help. I don't know where my mother is. I called my father, he's at work, and he's on his way.
I've only been in the 911 system for a month and a half. And so when this call came in, I didn't think I was ready for it.
Oh, God, I'm so scared.
How old is he?
He is, I think 3, he'll be 4 in February.
Okay, ma'am, keep him settled down as best you can.
She said one child had been stabbed by another child. So I understood that was an accidental thing.
an ambulance already in the field was dispatched to the scene.
Okay, man, we have somebody on the way there as soon as possible. Keep him calm, man. You gotta keep him calm. We have somebody on the way over here as soon as possible. But you can't scream at him and tell him to be calm. You gotta try to calm down so that you can help him calm down, okay?
Kimberly ran upstairs into his room. She knows exactly where his blanket is. Jessica just kept him company, holding his hand real tight, going, Daddy will be home as soon as he can. I was scared to death that he might die.
Are you babysitting your son there?
Yes, I'm 10 years old. I'm too scared. Nothing has ever happened like this before.
Ma'am? So we have the police and the EMS on their way.
The first rescue workers to arrive were paramedics David Stevens and his partner, Kathy Moncrief.
Children were crying, extremely upset. The feeling in the air was just all in an uproar.
The emotions that are running through your mind, you have to do something quick, you've got to do something now. All of your energies are directed straight to this child to make sure this child is going to make it. Okay, Lewis, easy.
He acted afraid of us and didn't want us to touch him. It took us a minute to get on his level and get him in communication with us so that we could calm him down and, treat him in a rational manner.
Just breathe in real deep, all right? When we realized how bad it was, and we realized Rufus needed a children's trauma center, so we called for the helicopter.
Police officer Jay Rosdick was patrolling DeKalb County from the air when he got the call.
Our normal mission is police work, but we back up the ambulance service within the county. We know that anytime they call us, it's a life-critical situation, and so time is of utmost importance.
This was a very dangerous situation. The length of the knife, it could easily have lacerated the kidney, the aorta, the spleen, any number of organs inside the body that are real dense in blood.
Additional officers were sent to the scene to help secure a safe helicopter landing zone in the front yard.
I could look down and see the ambulance and the police cars, so I knew the exact location. It was a very slow approach because there was a lot of wires, a lot of obstruction.
Within 5 minutes, the helicopter was on the scene.
Children bring an emotion out in people that is unequaled. Paramedics are just as susceptible to that as anyone else. You really have to concentrate on your job to keep from getting wrapped up in that emotion.
Rufus had already been airlifted out by the time his father and mother got home.
When I saw the police officers and everything, I wasn't scared until I walked in and saw my daughter's face.
and found out from my husband what happened.
My parents raised me so good that I don't know how to explain it. They raised me so good, and I'm really proud of them because without them, he'd be dead right now.
5 months later, after a successful operation, Rufus is on his way to a full recovery. Trauma surgeon Dr. Paul Parker explains.
I think Rufus is a very lucky kid in a number of ways. One, that his knife injury was not more serious and that it didn't hit his heart or a major artery in his abdomen. He's also lucky that he got medical attention very quickly, and he's got an older sister who knows how to use telephone.
I think it's extremely important for any parent to teach their children about emergency situations, and 911's the answer.
I'm glad Rufus is okay. I think Michelle saved Rufus's life. I got hold by a knife. And now better now. He's a real crazy boy, but we all love him. We miss him if he was gone.
Next.
When I first saw the car, I just didn't think anybody was going to be alive. I ran over there, and the fireman asked me,
At 11 p.m. Eastern.
Last minute.
There's no contract, and it's as flexible as you want it to be.
Excellent. We're proud to have received the GD.
A loaded truck just can't negotiate that burden on 40, 45 miles an hour. Something's going to happen if they come down here too fast.
8-year-old Brandon Moravchik's music camp recital had just lit out. His state trooper father put his family in their car and sent them on their way to lunch.
He's trained, being a state police officer, to work these type of situations. But when you've got your wife and your kids in an automobile accident, it's got to be a totally different situation.
It looks like the state trooper's wife just had a little baby.
Somebody got my attention on the sidewalk and waved me on up to the first car that the little 17-year-old girl was in. That's the first one that I started working on.
Jane and Jerry Bailey were also going to lunch.
When we arrived on the scene, the BFI truck's back wheels were right against the Bailey car. And we kept looking at the top because it was totally sunk in. It's a total U-shape. And we finally figured out the tires had set down on the top and then bounced out.
All 3 cars were approaching Louisville Hill from the bottom when the tow truck coming down the hill lost its brakes. It swung into the sharp turn at the bottom, out of control. As it came around the curve, the garbage truck was thrown onto the 3 cars, crushing them.
First thing we saw, as soon as we come down the hill, make the turn, was one car just about flat. Then you could see the other 2 cars in behind them, and they were flat. 2 of them had rolled over.
I thought, well, there's no point in no hurry. There's nobody living here. And then after finding out that everybody was still living but trapped, it was unbelievable.
Pinned inside the crushed maroon sedan, Kimberly Moravchik was worried about her children. Both children had already been pulled out of the wreckage.
First thing I took care of was the baby. It was just covered with glass. Had glass around its eyes and face and everything. But I didn't see anything major that was wrong with the child.
Kimberly's older son, Brandon, had been put in a patrol car.
We weren't aware that the 8-year-old was even involved until we went to the police car, and he was, in fact, laying fairly still, complaining with lower right abdominal pain, and you could see the marks on him where the seatbelt had made its impression.
It's just like all these cars that was involved were convertibles, but the tops wasn't cut off. They were mashed down inside. We had 3 different teams, 1 in each automobile.
EMT Terry Whitman tried to calm 17-year-old Belinda Sue, trapped when the dumpster crushed the top of her car.
Once I did get to her, it was evident that she was having trouble with her airway. She was choking on some blood that she had in her throat.
This is 23 minutes into the
I could
episode.
just barely get my hands to her face and do anything for her. So I just was trying to tell her that she needed to lay still because she was in a bunch of glass and we didn't need anything else to go wrong with her.
On the driver's side, rescue workers cut off the car door to get to Jane's husband, Jerry.
The gentleman, Mr. Bailey, he wasn't quite trapped as bad as his wife was, so we got him out first.
Trooper Greg Morovchik had been called to the scene of an accident involving his family.
When I first saw the car and Kimberly being in there, and there were a couple policemen and some people, I just didn't think anybody was going to be alive. Of course, I ran over there, and one of the firemen asked me, Greg, how do you know this woman? And I said, this is my wife. I didn't want to lose my loved one. The only thing I could let her know that I was there and just hold on to my hand and squeeze.
When the roof of Belinda's car was pried off her body, rescue workers were ready to move her.
She was probably drifting in and out of consciousness, which was probably best for her because when she would come to, that's when you'd hear the screaming, and we were trying to get a C-collar on her and get her on the backboard. Once we got her out of the car, other people took over and got her in the ambulance. So I took the equipment I had and went to the other cars and see what else needed to be done.
To reach Jane Bailey, they had to cut off the top of the black car.
The way she was laying, the seat had broken down and was laying flat, and she was all the way into the back seat, so immediately expected to find back and neck injury, so we treated such.
The only way to get her out of the car was they were having to take her over her seat and through the back seat and out where the back windshield was that they cut away, and had a person holding traction on her. We're sliding the backboard up underneath of her, and we were just trying to steadily slide her up on the backboard to get her on that.
Jane's neck had been broken by the impact when the garbage truck slammed into her car. Like her husband, she was taken to a nearby hospital. The last victim left to be removed was the trooper's wife.
Kimberly kept asking me, Brandon and Justin, are the boys okay? She wasn't concerned with herself, and just letting her know that I loved her and that the boys were okay, and that was reassuring to her, and that we'd get her out, and we did.
Because the rescuers got all the victims to hospitals within 1 hour, their odds for survival were dramatically increased. Though Jane Bailey's neck was broken and Jerry lost an eye, they both escaped with their lives.
We thanked the Lord several times a day in the last month that we were still here. My doctors and the nursing staff had told me that they handled me with such great care, and that if the slightest wrong move and I could have ended up paralyzed. And I just can't thank them enough for that. The thing I was looking forward to the most would be getting a hug from my daughter, because I can't get a hug right now. And that's the worst part. Because even though she's 6 years old, she just doesn't understand everything that's going on.
In the impact, Belinda Sue Everman's face had been crushed.
Daughter's
Her arm,
Memorial
wrist,
Hospital.
and several ribs were broken, and one lung collapsed. But in less than 2 months, she's made a remarkable recovery.
I do appreciate the rescue workers for saving my life, because they knew the right ways to handle me, not to hurt me any worse than what was already hurt me, how to handle me. So I have to give it credit to them, great credit.
After the surgeries on her own badly broken leg, Kimberly Morovchik moved into her 8-year-old son's hospital room.
The strength of the Moravchik family has been amazing. Not only has the father been here from the very beginning, from the time Brandon was brought over, He's always there when you come to make arrangements, morning, night, any time of day or night. The mother has also been amazing. She's not left Brandon's side since she was released from the hospital. Again, this kind of strength and courage has to translate over to Brandon.
Because the trooper's son was in the police car when paramedics arrived, it was some time before anyone realized he had serious internal injuries. He's still recovering from a punctured bowel.
Well, since my mommy's here, it's really cheered me up a whole lot. I'm pretty lucky that I'm not hurt any worse than I was.
What did Dr. Bell say about school?
He didn't say nothing to me.
He's had really basically 3 surgeries, and as for an adult, they'd be a lot harder to handle, but kids bounce back. But he's a little man. He's a little man in a boy's body. And he's got a lot of love for an 8-year-old.
Don't run on my toes.
I'm looking forward to going home and having Justin and Brandon and Greg and myself in our house, our home. And I'm looking forward to getting back to normal. I'm looking forward to getting back in a car and putting Justin and Brandon in the car and heading to have another day like we were having that day.
We didn't think we were going to end up with one person alive. Looking at the way the cars were, like I said, you wouldn't think anybody ever had a chance to come out of it, much less all of it.
For more full Rescue 911 videos, hit the big red button and subscribe. Let's see. Let's look at more episodes coming up. Die Buddy Rescue, Jungle Land, ATV Big Brother, Kenny's Bathtub, 911 Conference Call, Hanging Hang Glider, Plowed Under CPR Baby, Sporting Goods Heist, Sister Saves Sibling, 911 Cribbage Choke, Patrol Car Fire Save, Hypo Hang Glider, 911 Arsonist, Drainage Ditch, Colorado Poison Family, Google the Second, Amtrak Dog Rescue, Balcony Fall, 911 Bank Capture, Bar Blast, DUI Teen Driver, Security Bar Save, BB Gun Blast, Maryland Med, Laundry Chute Kid, Laundry Chute Lad, Phoenix Flood 2, Toddler Glass Save, Blind Hero, Babysitter Down, XRN Sun Save, Sparklets the Dalmatian, Maui Sand Trap, Pool Electrocution, Feed Bin Boy, Rescuers Rescue, Loggers Baby, Church Bus, Terror in the Sky, Snowmobile Save, Storm Drain Girl, Miracle Marine, School Bus Save, 911 Asthma, Double Football Player, Oakland Docu Running Senior Save, 911 Chatty Burglar, Heimlich Brothers, 911 Hidden Phone, Swamp Save, Heart Attack Car Save, Runaway Box Cars, Teen Angel Parrot Save, Cave Save, Resurrection Rescue, 911 3-year-old, Icy River, Sudden Death, Suicide Save, Highway Hero, Kidnap Kids, Parachute, Iron Hockey, Tucson Victim Docu, Player Down, Dad's Baby, I think I already... Hit the big red button and subscribe. Peace out, YouTube.